Okay, so we're just gonna drop in here, lying on our backs, and I'll demonstrate here. If you have a tender low back, you can just flex your knees in here or put a blanket under the knees. If your hips are tight, you can try this option. Maybe you do this half the time. Maybe you do it just, for a few minutes or not. But extending the legs out with tight hips and a tight lower back might create a little more stress than not. So choose what feels good, find what feels good for you. We're just going to place our hands on the low belly here as we drop out of that head space and into the heart space. Allow the chitter chatter of the morning to settle around us. As we soften the breath and soften the jaw, resting the tongue at the meeting place behind the teeth where the gums meet the teeth. And allow the breath to soften and lengthen. Inhaling through the nose and really feeling the birth of that breath in the low belly. And as you settle in, if you have an intention for today's practice, now's the time you can call it into place. And on the next exhale, go ahead and release whatever that intention may be out into the universe. I'm going to teach you a new breath work today as we settle into the opening of our practice. Just going to let those inhales be born there in that lower belly, inhaling slowly, noticing the expansion of the diaphragm and into the rib cage. And when it's time to exhale, we're going to make a snake sound, exhaling through the mouth. And then inhaling through the nose again. Let it be long. Let it be slow. Inhaling expansion, and that sounds almost like a tire that has a leak or the sound of a snake as you exhale, parting the lips. We are releasing and cleansing with this breath, awakening the vital energy as we do so. Anytime you exhale through the mouth, it's a detoxifying breath, so you're releasing any tension that might be living in the muscles. You may notice that some sounds in and around the stomach and intestines might arise. This breath work is very much connected to that region of the body. Let's take one more full cycle of inhale and exhale, and then we're going to add another layer to it. As you inhale, if your knees are open, go ahead and close them here. Wiggle the hips a little bit as if you're kind of rocking the pelvis from side to side. Awakening that lower pelvic region. And then finding a nice placement of the feet flat on the ground. I'm going to do that same breath work, but now we're going to add the neck, waking up this neck as we inhale towards the ceiling and exhale through the teeth with our snake sound, swiveling the chin over towards the shoulder. Inhaling back to center and allowing the breath to be as slow as you want it. Coordinating the breath with that movement as I exhale and swivel the chin over towards the other shoulder. And as you do this, you might notice that on each exhale, the belly button in that lower abdomen naturally presses towards the mat. Our belly button is naturally seeking that union with the spine. Let's do a few more cycles here. Inhaling the chin to the ceiling and slowly swiveling and exhaling to the sides. Last round. chin back towards the ceiling. We're going to add yet another layer here. This time we're going to raise the arm opposite to the side that we're swiveling the chin. So in this case, as we're here, really check in with that lower belly. Make sure you're pressing the belly button down towards the mat. Hands are by your side, palms are down. Inhale up towards the ceiling, and as you exhale, raise the left arm as you swivel the chin towards the right. And inhale, lower that arm, move the chin back to the ceiling. Raise the end, exhale, and raise the other hand. Keeping that lower belly down on the mat. And you can do this at your own pace. Last round. And then go ahead and bring those knees into your belly. Once you finish that last cycle, give yourself a nice hug, hugging those knees into the belly. Allow yourself to roll and give it the kind of movement that feels good for you. Massaging the kidneys. In that lower back, a little love. As you allow the breath to return to a normal state. And go ahead and lower that left leg onto the ground. Now, depending on how tight you feel your legs and hips are and lower back at the moment, you can keep it bent. If you're feeling a little warm, you can go ahead and extend it down. Pushing through the heel, extending that leg on the mat, or keeping it here. We are going to lace the fingers behind that thigh. And if you can't quite lace the fingers behind the thigh, that's okay. You can just keep it here. Hold on to the leg a little. Put your hands on the knee. We're going to do some lengthening of the back leg here. So checking in with the lower belly. Take a nice inhale here. And when you exhale, we're going to push through both heels. We're looking to lengthen through the heel, through the back leg. If you're here, that is perfectly fine. All we're doing is reaching for it. There's nowhere to get, nothing to achieve. Simply finding our limits and resting there. Noticing how with each breath, that limit naturally extends itself without pressure, without pushing. And go ahead and flex that knee in. And one more time, we're going to go ahead and exhale through the heels, pushing through the heels. Reaching the bottom of the foot up towards the sky, pressing that belly button down towards the earth. And releasing. Last time. Take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, flex those legs, active legs, pushing through the heels. If you're pushing the ceiling away from you, pushing the wall away from you, pressing that belly button into the earth. And go ahead and drop that leg, relax. Let's do a little swivel here. Just allowing the knees to swivel back and forth, giving it a little release. You may notice that even just doing this kind of gives you a little massage. And then whenever you're ready, I'm going to go ahead and hug those knees back into the chest. Placing the fingers behind the left leg. Now I'm going to extend my right leg onto the mat. So I'm either here or I'm here, whichever feels good to you. Taking a deep breath, we're going to activate both legs, press that belly button down into the earth and push the ceiling and wall away from you. If you're as tight as I am today, you should feel this even in the arch of your foot. And go ahead and release. And exhale, push through the heels. And inhale, release. And last time, exhale, pushing through the heels. And inhale, release the knees. Bring both those knees in this time and see if you can open the legs. So we're doing a kind of half happy baby, just holding on to the knees. If it's easier for you, you can open the legs like this, feet up to the ceiling, and hold on to the ankles for a full happy baby. And then closing the knees. I want you to give yourself a little bit of a rocking motion, using your feet to give you a kind of impulse. You should feel this rocking back and forth, not too far back to injure the neck, just there all along the spine as you rock back and forth on the spine, massaging the whole spine, lengthening the spine. And whenever you're ready on one of those impulses, use it to come to sitting. And then facing me now. If you can sit in easy pose, even if your knees are kind of up like this, let's try to do that today. Let's just check in with our bodies and see if that's okay. I'd like us to be able to do a kind of seated twist where we use our knees and our arms to help us lengthen the shoulder blades, through the shoulder blades. So I have, my hip flexors are quite open, and so if you look at my legs, they're flat on the ground. Yours probably aren't going to look like that, and that's okay. So you can sit like this, whatever's comfortable, and you can take something and place it under the knees if you need a little bit more support there, okay? What I want us to do, just as we gather our center here, is really lengthen up through the back spine. So try to find this place where you're lifting from the sternum, is what I tell people. So it's not just a sitting up straight, because sometimes sitting up straight means I'm arching my back. And sometimes I think I'm sitting up straight, but I'm actually kind of rolled back. My pelvis is rolled forward. So what I want you to do is sit right up on those sits bones and think about lifting here as if I had a string right from your sternum. Okay? And once you find that position, go ahead and take your right hand and place it on your left knee. And then just lean away from that knee. So it's almost as if now my right shoulder is looking to touch my right knee. So I've got this cross going, yeah, oppositional. And then I'm gonna open up my left arm up to the ceiling. Both of my sit bones are firmly placed on the ground. You should feel this under the arm, all in the lymphatic system, in the rib cage, in the side body. And really that is what causes a tense low back, is the side body. You can play with the head here, test it and see what feels good. Look down at the knee. Look up at the hand. Find what feels good to you. Really breathe into it. We're going to hold this for one full yogic breath. And then dropping the arm, go ahead and come back to center. Shake out those shoulders. Let's do a few circles there. And then moving to the other side. This time I'm going to take my left hand, grab onto my right knee, and I'm going to lean away from that knee so that my left shoulder is kind of reaching towards my left knee here. And then whenever I'm ready, I add that extra layer where I open up my hand up to the ceiling. I can play with the head here. Notice how the lengthening changes if I'm gazing at my hand or if I'm gazing at my knee. You'll notice a different kind of lengthening. Be sure that your sits bones are still seated firmly on the ground. One full yogic breath here. And then dropping that arm, coming back to center. Let's do a few circles with the shoulders again. Okay. Go ahead and extend those legs out in front of you. And we're going to do that very subtle bend, okay? So when we do this, we're asking this lower back as well as the back leg to loosen up, okay? And what usually happens when we do this kind of a forward bend is that people bend from the thoracic spine, okay? And they kind of hang over the body like that. That's fine if that's what you want to open up. That's not what we're doing today. It doesn't matter how far over you get. What really matters is I want you to imagine that your back is swaddled to a piece of plywood or some kind of a board. And as you sit up nice and tall and your legs are active and you're pushing the wall away from you, pushing through the heels, you're lengthening up through the spine, the sternum is up and forward, and you're just gonna walk the hands forward until you feel that subtle shift of wanting to break the swaddling board. So we're going to try to keep a very, very straight back the whole time. And so that might mean that you're really not flexing forward. You're not folding over your, maybe this is just sitting like this. And that's okay, because that's a hard posture. So just really tap into your own body, listen to your own limitations, and slowly see if you can rest there. Find comfort in the discomfort. Find stability in the posture. And then come back up to sitting, release the legs, shake them out. Okay. We're going to do one more thing sitting down before we get up. I want you to take your legs like this, and without adjusting, just open them to where your limit is. Okay? And now all we're going to do is notice the way we can roll back on those sits bones and how we can sit up straight. That's all we're doing. We're looking at this very subtle movement. I want you to see it in my own back. This movement of the pelvis where we roll back and then push up. And we roll back and then we push up. It's a kind of making a C with the spine and then lengthening through the spine as if something's pulling the crown of your head. So as you sink down and roll back, then you roll forward, lengthening through the spine. Let it be dynamic. Move at your own pace. Exhaling as you roll back into that contraction. And inhaling as you lengthen towards the ceiling. You can kind of think of this almost like a strange sort of seated cat-cow. One more time. And then shake those legs until you bring them back to center. And take your time as we slowly come to a standing position. Actually, I'm going to come a little bit more forward so you can see. Okay. So you'll notice that I've kind of changed the direction of my mat. That's really just so that you can see the difference in this I've never done this balancing asana with you before, so this is a new thing. You may have done it with another teacher, but I've never given it to you today. So just listen to your own body and see how it feels for you, okay? As we stand here, I have the back of the chair at my side in case I should need it for any reason. And I'm just gonna form mountain pose. Feet are just far enough apart to where I could probably put my fist between the two toes, between right foot and left foot. I'm just gonna tune into the feet, to the bottom of the feet. Notice how the earth supports me. Notice the way each toe is becoming an anchor or a root. Facing the palms forward and activating those legs so that that pelvic floor is really active. I'm grasping at that $100 bill I always tell you, right between the inner thighs. Don't let me take it from you. Lift that sternum. And just take a few breaths here, feeling that supported stability. And then we're going to go ahead and bring the hands into prayer position. And because my chair is on my left side, I am going to lift my right leg. So you'll see the balance is like this, okay? So we're gonna do, and if you want, maybe you should look at me the way I do it first, and then that way we can do it all together since we've never done it before. So I'll demonstrate it and then you can do it. So we're here and I'm going to lift my leg and then step it back. And then I'm going to lift my leg and I'm going to step it back and push through the heel. That whole time my hips are facing forward, okay? So up and pressing through the heel and up and pressing through the heel. And you can do this if you need a little extra support. Hold on to that chair. You can do it this way. This is a strengthening and lengthening asana. Using that core, pressing that belly button back towards the spine. We're finding balance as we lengthen through the calf, through the side hip, through the back leg. And we're creating strength in that standing leg. And let's do that one more time, lifting of the knee here. And this time go ahead and stay in the short lunge. Really checking in with those hips to be sure that they're facing forward, pushing through the heel, that back heel, really feeling the lengthening of the leg. And we're going to add another layer to it. Roll up onto the ball of the foot so that you're like this, and then push through it again. Okay? So you're rolling through and you're pushing through. You're rolling through and you're pushing through. Okay? We're releasing and we're lengthening. We're releasing and we're lengthening. And then go ahead and straighten that leg that's flexed, the front knee. Okay? And step in that back foot forward. So you should feel a burn in that standing leg. Go ahead and shake it out. Okay? Let's do some hip rolls here. Loosen it up. Every time you do these hip rolls, you're telling the brain to send lubricant to the hip joints. All right, we've got the other side to do. So I'm going to change the chair on side just in case. Come back to mountain pose. Find your grounding. Find the rooting of the toes and the feet. Check in with that lower abdomen. Be sure we're activating through the core, active pelvic floor. And when you're ready, shift that weight onto the standing leg, which is the one closest to the chair, and lift the front leg. I'm lifting the left now. Lifting and placing into the lunge, and then lifting and placing into the lunge. And you can keep a hand on the chair if you want. Lifting and placing into the lunge, keeping the hips nice and forward. This is kind of a bunch of different asanas combined where we're working on balance and rooting and strength and stability and lengthening, keeping our knees nice and healthy. Let's do one more here. And then place the leg back in a lunge. And I'm going to turn to the side so you can see the dynamics of this. My front knee is bent right over my heel, and I'm rolling through the instep of the foot onto the ball of the foot, and then I'm pushing through the heel, maintaining the hips forward, releasing and lengthening. It's just a subtle little shift. You should feel it all behind the knee there and in the calf. Okay, when you're ready, push off that front leg there and then step it in. Shake out the legs. Should have had some burning in that hip there, that standing leg. So let's go ahead and have some hip circles. You can do one at a time if that feels good. Just let it be whatever works for you. All right. Let's go ahead and come back to center here. We did this lifting forward. Now we're going to do it to the back, okay? And so put the chair in a way so that the body is now facing the chair, the back of the chair, okay? We're going to place our hands on the chair, and I'm going to tell you, just like my ballet teacher used to tell me, ballerinas never put their thumbs on the bar, okay? So you put the 2 fingers on the bar. That'll make sure that you do not put your whole weight on the chair, okay? So that you're actually using your core to lift the leg. So I'm going to put 2 fingers on the back of the chair. I'm going to stand up really nice and tall, okay? And then I'm just going to lift the right leg. And then I'm going to bring it down. And I'm going to lift the right leg again. Try to keep my chest as high as I can here. We are giving the lower back some strength right now. One more time on the right leg here. And then come back to center. We'll move to the opposite leg. Whenever you're ready, find your grounding. And then shifting the weight onto the standing leg, lift that leg. Only go as high as what feels good. If this is where you're at, that is so perfect. Coordinate it with the breath. I'm inhaling it up. And I'm exhaling it down. Last time. And as you come back to center, go ahead and placing the hands on the back of the chair now, firmly. Walk those legs back, away from the chair, reaching the hips for the wall behind you. Looking for that spot where the ears are right between the elbows. No droopy heads. Lift the head to the back of the neck. And just play with this here. Notice the different sensations as you wiggle your tail. Shifting from one side to the other. Notice what happens if you bend one knee. And then coming back to center, gaze up at the back of your chair here and slowly walk those feet back into the chair. Taking a deep breath, finding your footing. Everybody doing okay so far? Looks like you're starting to get warm, huh? All right, so bringing the chair back around here. We're gonna do two things on the chair today. One is the seated chair pose, but we're going to do it with the chair there just in case so that we don't have any whoopsies, okay? And so the way that I'm gonna do it is keep the chair right here so that I can feel it at the back of my knees. And then we're going to go into the seated chair pose where my sits bones are reaching for the chair. And I remember that same asana that we did earlier where we tried to fold the body over the legs. Remember that sensation of the swaddle board, keeping the back really nice and long and straight, and then pushing through the heels. You push the ground away from you and come back to standing. And you can add the hands and arms that you want here. If you want, we can add a balance where we come up onto the toes. And then we can open the arms in a W as we come to a seated chair. Pressing the belly button back towards the spine. Feeling that swaddle board. Inhale up as you push the ground away from you. Come on to the tippy toes if you wish, or just stand there. And exhale as you extend and reach those sits bones for the chair. Opening the arms. Feeling that active belly button pressing towards the spine. Last time, add that balance on the balls of the feet if you want to. And this time, go ahead and let those sits bones fully sit down. As you find the chair here. And we're gonna do something that I do in the seated chair class all the time. It's a seated, I can't remember if we've done it in our class before, but it's a seated lunge. And what it allows us to do is really get into that psoas in a way that the standing lunge sometimes doesn't because we're too tense about maintaining the balance. And so we're going to use the chair as a tool to help us open up that psoas. So just go ahead and take the knees and let them do a windshield wiper movement here. As you sit up nice and tall in your chair. And then on the next wipe, let the right knee drop down onto the ground so that, or like it's reaching for the ground here. Let me back up so you can see it better. Okay. So I'm rolled over on the top of my foot, but if you can also be like this on the ball of the foot, whatever feels good for you. Hold on to the back of the chair here. Notice that this knee is right in line with my hip. And then just reach that knee towards the earth. And as you relax into this posture, let the leg slide back 1 centimeter. You can add another layer here by inhaling this arm up, lifting the sternum up towards the sky, or allowing yourself to fall over to the side. I encourage you to move in your body freely and find what feels good for you. When you reach a moment of tension, rest there. It's your body asking for your attention. We all carry that tension differently. Whenever you're ready, once you feel like you've really lengthened through that front of the leg, you can slowly drag it to meet the other. And then run them out. Give yourself a little pat down. And then we'll do the other side. So coming back to that windshield wiper movement with the legs there. We're gonna, whenever you feel ready, drop that other leg down so that you're facing off the side of the chair. You can hold on to the back of the chair for support. That bottom leg can be either on top of the instep or pushing through the leg. You listen to what your body's asking you to do. And then reach that knee towards the earth. And as you settle into the posture, allow that back leg to just slide out 0.5 centimeter, just a little bit. Really tune in to where you're feeling the tension. Raise the arm. Use the breath to relax into the posture and find stability in it. And then taking one more breath here, really releasing whatever's left to be released. Slowly allow that knee to slide back in and meet the other one. Kind of run those legs out a little. And then if there's anything else that your body's calling for that I didn't get to today, you can unmute yourself and say, oh, I wish we had done this, or my body's still asking for XYZ, and we'll weave it in. And if you're feeling pretty good, then we can just dive right into the relaxation part of today's practice. So we can let everything we've done so far take place on a cellular level. Any special requests? I'll take that as it's time to relax. So let's dive right in. Find a place that feels good, either lying on the mat, sitting in a sitting meditative position. Allow the body to settle onto the mat, inviting today's physical practice to take place on a cellular level. Allow your breath to soften and lengthen. As you scan the body for any residual tension, direct your breath to that exact place and visualize an inhale expanding the space in and around, and simply letting loose. Taking the attention to the very tips of the toes. Visualize the attention in the color of a light. The first color you choose is the correct color. Allow that light to illuminate every single cell, every single nerve ending, tendon and ligament, muscle and bone in the body. As it traces your outline and all of the intricacies and articulations, journeying through the foot, instep, arch and heel. Allow it to dance around the ankle and up through the calves. And every place that light touches simply lets loose as you go deeper into the profound sense of self that is you, your essence. Let all that is not you fall away as you observe this magical moment, this phenomenon that is life in the here and now. And let that light continue journeying through the body, all through the articulations of the knee, up through the thighs. It weaves in and out of the hips and psoas, and blesses every single vital organ in the body. A blessing of love and gratitude and compassion for self. And let that light kiss the side body as it weaves in and out between all of the ribs, journeying through the lymphatic system and in and around the shoulders. the arm, elbow, and forearm, and each and every tiny movement of the hand. Allow the light to journey up the spine, weaving in and out between each and every vertebrae. And everywhere that light touches, simply lets loose, releasing any residual tension, any story we might be holding. Allowing the body to simply be. Slowly journeying up the back of the neck. Light blesses all of the muscles that keep our head up high. All of the tiny muscles and bones in the face. The jaw, the eyes, and each and every tiny hair follicle. You are a body of light, of strength. And simply rest there in that knowing. In that profound trust that you are supported by something bigger than yourself. With great tenderness and the lightness of being. Welcome the understanding that this state, this lucid state of clarity and compassion is always available to you. For it is who you are. Let this be a reminder of your own strength and your own light. As you slowly call the attention back into the body. Wiggling the toes and the fingers. And slowly moving the neck. As you make your way to a seated position. Slowly being gentle with the body. To close today's practice, I'd like to sing a mantra. If you know it, you can sing it with me, or you can simply rest in the vibration and sound of the voice. The chant is Om Namo Gurudev Namo. And I'll sing it only one time. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Satnam, ladies. Thank you for practicing with me today and every Monday. May this holistic practice of breath and body and mind and spirit and heart and energy carry you through your day and through your week and through your life. Namaste.
Thank you, Steph.